So when I was around 9 or 10 years old, my cousin Kyriana and I used to go on little adventures in the like thick wooded foresty area behind my grandma's house. It was like one of those really thick foresty, like mystical, you know what I'm talking about? Like the ones where it seems like the trees have stories to tell when you're walking through it. Our grandma constantly told us not to venture too far into the forest. Like she had given us boundary points, like we knew which trees we were not supposed to cross. Like we weren't supposed to cross the stream that was back there. But we were little kids and we thought we were completely invincible, so what do you think we did? We decided to go in there. One summer afternoon, we decided to pack a couple juice boxes, a couple flashlights with dying batteries. A rookie mistake, I might add. Also packed a couple of those oatmeal chocolate chip granola bars. So we took our packs and we ventured way further into the woods than we were ever supposed to go. And I'm talking miles. I'm not just talking like we went past the stream. We went miles. We went on like a full-blown hike. Anyways, after a bit of walking, we came across this cave. It didn't look like much at first. It was just kind of like a little gap in the hillside that was covered by like vines or like leaves, not trees, you know what I mean? I remember there being a cold breeze coming from inside of the cave, and on a really hot summer day, that felt amazing. That was so intriguing for us. We had just gone on a trek. We were ready for nature's AC. Neither one of us even hesitated after we felt the cold air. We were just ready for it. We crawled in there, daring each other to go deeper, giggling. I remember we thought that it was the funniest, most silliest thing ever. We're crawling inside the side of a mountain. At first, the cave was kind of fun. We thought that the echo that we could make inside the cave was like some sort of sorcery. It was nothing like we'd ever heard. On the ground was like moss and old leaves. But the further that we got into the cave, the colder that it got. I mean, obviously. We got to a point in the cave where literally all of the sounds around us just ceased to exist. Like, I have never heard silence to that level before since that incident. Like, I mean silence so heavy that it felt like it was gonna combust my brain. I don't know. And obviously we should have turned around then, but we did not. We kept egging each other to go on further and further and further to see who was the bravest. Eventually we got to another point in the cave where our flashlights started flickering. At that point, I remember the air smelling kind of like stone, like wet stone, you know, after it rains and it gets on the stones, it smells kind of like, I don't know how to explain it other than that. I'm sure you know. And also I kind of smelled something like pennies. A very metallic-y kind of smell. And maybe a little bit like rotting wood, like wet rotting wood. After I kind of took note of that in my brain, that's when we started to hear kind of like this low hum. It was like a jump scare, seriously, amidst the silence of the cave. But we were deep enough inside the cave that there's no way that it could have been like wind or noise from the outside of the cave. Plus we could feel vibrations on the floor as the humming was, you know, making it sound. I remember Kai squeezed my hand as hard as she could. She was so scared. She was the youngest of us both. But I remember right in that moment, as she grabbed my hand, we were looking around at the walls of the cave with our flashlights. And I shit you not, on the walls of the cave, it looked like someone or something had like carved out symbols and like little scratches in the walls of the cave. I don't know if they were fresh or if they had been there for a while, but in my child brain, I was like, those are fresh, something's here, something was trying to claw their way out of here. And that's not even the scariest part, because literally right after that is when our flashlights decided to die. Pure black, pitch black, can't see your hand in front of your face, like your eyes are open but you're seeing those swirls of color like your eyes are shut. We froze. We both held our breath and clutched each other. We literally weren't breathing. I could feel my chest still and her chest still and just the beating of our hearts. We were not breathing. And even when we talk about this today, she even says, I was not fucking breathing in that moment either, bitch. But we heard breathing. We heard heavy, like wet breathing. And that's when our fight or flight kicked in. We booked it back out the exit of that cave. I don't even know how we got back, honestly. Like, instinct kicked in that moment. I just remember scraping my hands along the cave while I was running just to make sure that I was like not gonna run into anything. My hands were so scraped and chafed up after that. Meanwhile, I was dragging Kai with me from behind just to make sure that she was with me. Cause like I said, she was the younger of us two. I shouldn't even have taken her out there at all. I remember as I was running out of the cave with her in tow, I felt something like wrap around my ankle. It was like slimy, almost like seaweed in the ocean feels when it wraps around your ankle. But honestly, I can't tell you what that was, but I just remember the feeling of something slimy wrapping around my ankle as I ran. Whatever it was, I could not stop to find out. I just kept going and going and going and going. Instinct, run, 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 run. Stay alive, get back to grandma. Like, fuck. And finally, after what seemed like hours of running, we finally saw the light at the end of the tunnel, which was the opening of the cave, of course. We crawled out of there so fast, one of my shoes fell off. I probably one of my sneakers is literally still in that cave. By the time we got out of the cave, it was like almost nighttime. Like, we had been gone for hours at this point. And when we got back to our grandma's house, she didn't even yell at us, and like, it's like she almost knew what happened. She looked at us and she just had this weird look on her face, like she just knew what we did. Here's where it gets even weirder, because later that night, Kai told me that she had seen something inside the cave. She said that off in the distance of the darkness of the cave, she had seen two eyes that were too round to be human, and they blinked at her twice. We went back into the woods the next day because we were hoping to find the cave in the daylight, but for some reason, we literally couldn't find it again. And we had tracked where we went, yo, like we didn't go in any different direction, like it was nowhere to be found. It was like the cave never existed. I just wanted to go get my sneaker back, you know? I was hoping that like I just reached my hand back into the opening of the cave to grab it. But yeah, that could have ended way worse than it did, but it was definitely a traumatizing, horrifying moment of my life.
So imagine your daughter coming home with some underwears in her backpack that doesn't belong to her. Yeah, so I'm back with another story time. Let's get into it. We're gonna call her Mia. So Mia has a child with this guy. Now Mia and the baby daddy are not together. They are just co-parenting at this point. Now the baby daddy do have a new girlfriend. Now the weekend comes up and it's time for their daughter to go visit her dad. The weekend comes and goes. So now the daughter returns back home with Mia. She starts unpacking her daughter's bag and notice it's some underwears in there wrapped in a clear plastic bag. Once she opened it and saw what it was, she immediately threw it in the trash can. Now, about a week later, she did notice it was so many flies and gnats all around her house during the wintertime. She said she's not exaggerating. It was like more than 50. She said this was...
Let me tell y'all one of the most scary things that's ever happened to me. Now, I have experienced some bizarre things in my lifetime, but this experience made me cautious. Made me cautious of people, places, and things, okay? To you the story, I have to set the scene. It's 2010. I'm a new driver. I have a car and nothing to do. Nothing. I hit up all my friends, like, y'all want to do something tonight? No one's hitting me back. So back then, there used to be a newspaper where you could go and see like things to do locally. And I picked up the newspaper and I saw that night there was going to be a play at a local playhouse. And I'm like, I like plays. I'll go by myself. So I get in my car, I drive to the playhouse, I smoke a little something, and then I go inside immediately. As soon as I get inside, I notice no one looks like me. It wasn't a lot of representation there. I was like, you know what? I'm gonna make the best of it. I'm gonna have fun. So I noticed that everyone's like kind of crowded in a dark space in the front of the playhouse. And I'm like, why is no one sitting down? So I finally find where you can go purchase your ticket. So I go up to the counter and the girl tells me, this is a sold out show. There aren't any tickets available. But I have a few people who have not showed up to check in, and if they do not show up before a curtain call, you will be able to purchase a ticket and see the show. She tells me we have refreshments and coffee. Go get some coffee, talk to some people, and I'll let you know. So what do? I start being my bubbly self. I'm walking around, I'm talking to people, saying hello. And I notice in the corner, there's a girl sitting by herself. She's a white woman, looks about my age, which is what made me even go to approach her. And she was dressed kind of cool, you know, like in an alternative hippie way. She had on a long skirt and a like floral top. And I was like, okay, I'm kind of feeling her Alanis Morissette vibes. I don't know. So I walk up to her and I'm like, hey, I'm Erica. Are you here to see the play? She looks up at me and immediately her face just like fills with excitement. She's like, yeah, I'm here to see the play. And I'm like, oh, okay. I was like, well, what is it about? Like, what's the name? I don't even know anything about this play. And she's like, oh, it's a great play. I drove really far to come see it. And I'm like, oh, okay. Well, where are you from? And she's like, I'm from Canada. Now, mind you, we are in North Carolina. in Durham, North Carolina, to be exact. So to come from Canada to Durham is already alarming, but that went over my head. I was just like, oh, okay, cool. I was like, well, what is it about? And she's like, oh, it's my favorite play. It's my favorite play. And I was like, okay, so yeah, tell me more. And she's like, yeah, it's about these two brothers. They're twins. They're raised by parents who are a little sadistic, and they put one twin in the basement and they torture him, and then they treat the other twin really nicely his whole life, and then, you know, it all comes to a head. And I'm like, oh, okay, cool. Now me, I'm sitting there like, she's a vibe. I don't know. I like crazy, right? So I'm like, she's a vibe. I'm kind of feeling her vibe. She's excited about the play. So I'm telling her, like, I don't even have a ticket, but she told me I might be able to get one. Okay, the woman from the ticket booth comes up to me and she says, oh, you can purchase a ticket. So I'm like, cool. I pay for the ticket and I sit back down beside the girl. And the girl is just telling me, like, about how it's snowing in Canada right now, and she had to call out of work to come, and it was a big deal. After that, they tell us that we can move into the auditorium. So we get up and we start to walk in, and she's like, you can just sit beside me. And I'm like, all right, cool. Because mind you, let me set the scene. It's a small playhouse. It's not huge. It's not a big show. It's a small production. We get in, it's very dark. I sit down, she sits beside me. Now, as we're sitting there, she's going like this. She's excited about this play. And she's making me excited. I'm over here like, let's watch this play. What's about to happen? Like, I'm intrigued. So the lights go off and the play starts. Now, the play starts with screaming. It's screaming, like violent screaming, and it's really graphic, extremely graphic play. So I'm watching it, and as I'm watching it, I'm looking around the room. It's very dark, but I can see people, and people look uncomfortable. I'm uncomfortable. I'm looking over at your girl, and she's over here like, and I'm just here for the vibes, okay? Now, as the play goes on, you know, the brother that was down in the basement escapes and he murders the whole family. Let's just cut to the chase. As he's murdering the family, the scene is so graphic that people are uncomfortable and getting up and leaving. They're leaving the play. Like, they're not even watching the whole show. And I'm sitting over here like, this is really good. Like, it's a good play. I'm not uncomfortable. I'm not nervous. Nothing's really, you know, red flagging for me. I'm just like, this is a vibe. So the show ends, and they announce, like, you know, they go on stage, they all take their bows, and they say, we're going to have refreshments, and you can meet the cast after the show. Cool. I'm like, yeah, might as well meet the cast, because she's the girl to the left of me. She's all like, let's go meet them. Let's go meet them. I wonder if they'll sign my book. I'm like, cool. So we get up. We go back to the little entrance refreshing area, because it's like very small. And we're in there, we're meeting the cast. She's getting them to sign stuff. And I'm just kind of like, okay, that was fun. Let me go home. So I get to walking towards the exit. And she's like, hey, can I use your phone? Now, mind you, this is 2010. All I had was like a little Cricket wireless flip phone that I paid minutes on. I paid minutes on my phone. Like, so me letting somebody use my phone is very generous. But I was like, yeah, you can use my phone. She's like, I have to call my ride. I have to call for a ride or a cab. She's like, my car broke down on my way here. And I'm like, dang, your car broke down, bro? So I'm like, yeah, use my phone. So she steps outside, uses my phone, and comes back. She's like, do you mind waiting with me until my ride gets here? And I'm like, that's cool. We'll wait. Why not? But at this time, they're actually starting to close up the playhouse. So we have to wait outside. Now, this is Durham in 2010. And I don't know if y'all know anything about Durham, but there's like a meme that goes around. It's like the Lion King scene where he's like, everything the light touches is yours. And he's like, hey, what's that dark place over there? Well, people say that's Durham, because Durham was kind of violent back then. But you know me, I'm not worried about it. So I'm like, but I'm not going to leave her outside in downtown Durham by herself at night. So I'm like, yeah, I'll wait with you. That's cool. So we're standing out in front of the playhouse. People are still kind of out there. You know, it's not like we're by ourselves. Like, other people are talking in the parking lot. And we're waiting. It's been about 5 minutes. And I'm like, well, how long is your cab going to take? And she's like, can I tell you something? I said, sure. I look over at her and she says, I didn't call a cab. So I'm like, well, why not? Why didn't you call a cab? And she's like, I don't have any money. Okay. So I'm like, all right, well, what are you going to do? And she's like, I was hoping that you could give me a ride. I'm thinking to myself, you know, well, where are you going? I felt safe. I'm going to be honest. I felt very safe. You know, I didn't feel in danger. So I was like, yeah, but where are you going? And she's like, oh, my car broke down somewhere near Oxford. Now, immediately I'm thinking, that's kind of far. That's like a good, 25, 30-minute drive. And I'm like, and it's in the middle of nowhere. We're in Durham, which is like a central city. Oxford is the country, okay? And I'm like, okay. But I told her, it's fine. I'll give you a ride. My car is right over there. So I point to my car and we start to walk. Now, as we're walking to the car, I'm thinking to myself, should I be giving this girl a ride? I don't even know her. I'm thinking all of that. Oh my gosh, y'all, I'm running out of time. Y'all gonna have to meet me in part two.
Can we show them the older homestead?
Yeah, let's go. As you know.
No, it's not. No, it's not. Was that you?
Yeah, that's on either side.
They went to both.
Yeah.
So everybody is telling their paranormal activity stories, and I tried to record it like 3 times with the stitch, but I can't do it. So here's a story of the time that I lived in a haunted apartment. So this had to be 2010. I was probably 11 years old, just finished 5th grade. Going into the 6th grade, it was like the summer time-ish, end of spring, summertime. And my mom wanted to move out our current apartment. We live in Miami. Because stuff was going on in the crib, so she wanted to move out with me. She wanted to take me with her. I want to preface this by saying that in the apartment that I grew up in, I did not have my own room. So one of the things that my mom wanted to do for me was get me my own room. So we was looking for apartments with a realtor, and we ended up finding an apartment that was 10 blocks away. So it was like a 5-minute drive. The main reason why we stayed so close was because of school, and my mom wanted me to stay close to my dad, who ended up staying in the apartment that I lived up in. So we go to tour the place, and the first thing that we noticed.
So normally I have the memory of a goldfish, but there's this one story that I remember, this really super creepy story that I've never been able to quite figure out why or how it happened, and I want to tell you guys about it. So I was in high school. And a group of my friends decided we were gonna go get picked up by this little bit too old guy to be picking up high school girls, that's for sure. Anyway, we were gonna go to his house and we were gonna go all hang out. So we get there, and I didn't know him too well. I kind of did, just from being like around, but not too well. So I didn't really know exactly where he lived, but I told my mom and my dad where I was going, whose house I was going to at least, and that I would call them if I needed them to come pick me up. So we get there and we walk in, and it's kind of this big red like farmhouse on a hill, but it's in like a city central. So we get there and I walk in, and I immediately get this sick feeling in my stomach. At the time, I kind of chalked it up to like, maybe my parents wouldn't really love that I'm here right now if they knew like how old this guy was, or like whatever, what people were doing. So I just kind of let it go. Then I go into the living room and I look up on the wall, on the ceiling, and there's like this old like cathedral ceiling with like paintings, and like it's a very old historical house. Normally, I think that stuff is absolutely beautiful. But I looked up at the ceiling and my stomach absolutely dropped to my knees. I really couldn't quite figure out why all of a sudden I felt so sick. But like I said, I kind of chalked it up to like guilt, like that, you know, you're young and you know you probably shouldn't be somewhere and you are. So I kind of told my friends, I'm like, I don't really know if I'm feeling this. I think I'm going to go home. And they're all like, no, we're going to stay. You know, if you want to get picked up, that's totally fine, but we're just going to stay. So as I'm waiting to get picked up, because I call my dad and I'm like, Dad, this is the address. I need you to come pick me up. As I'm waiting, one of the girls tells me, oh, did you know that there was a schmurder in this house? And I'm like, oh, no, I didn't. That might explain why I'm feeling kind of weird, but she goes, yeah, it was actually in the bathroom. Somebody had drowned their child.
So Leute, heute kommt mein Part 2 zu meiner alten Mitbewohnerin. Leute, eure Maus, ich weiß nicht, ob ihr das seht, hat ihr eigenes Reich, finally. Alle, die in München wohnen, wissen, wie anstrengend eine Wohnungssuche sein kann. Ja, Leute, ich hatte, glaube ich, in 2 Wochen, lasst mich nicht lügen, 7 Wohnungsbesichtigungen und diese war eine hiervon und ich habe diese Wohnung bekommen. Danke, lieber Gott. Ich zahle natürlich viel mehr als davor, aber Leute, das war es mir wert, damit ich endlich weg bin von dieser psychopathischen Frau. Jetzt mehr dazu sagen, ich kann auch mehr dazu reden. Ich habe euch nicht alles erzählt, weil ich nicht wissen konnte, was ich alles erzählen darf. Das Problem ist halt aber auch, dass ich Angst hatte, dass mein Vermieter mich mäßig anklagt. Ich sag euch ehrlich, weil er ja dann theoretisch ein Problem haben würde, jemanden Neues zu finden in der Wohnung. Keine Ahnung, Leute, ich weiß es nicht. Ich wollte mich einfach nicht angreifbar machen. So, jetzt kommt mein Part 2 zu meiner alten Mitbewohnerin. Ich habe ja euch erzählt, ich war nicht da, als sie eingezogen ist. Bliblablub, sie hat gelebt, wie sie wollte. Es kam so viel raus. Also, ich fange jetzt mal mit den neueren Themen an. Und zwar, Leute, dieses Mädchen ist hierher gezogen von einem anderen Land. Sie ist hier komplett alleine. Eine alte Mitbewohnerin hatte auch einen Freund und ich habe auch einen Freund. Which is totally fine. Wenn du jemanden, beziehungsweise wenn du deinen Freund, ja, mit dem du zusammen bist, den du ja kennst, ihn einladen willst, dann habe ich gar kein Problem damit. Das Ding ist aber, wenn du wildfremde Leute einlädst und irgendwelche Bumble-Dates und irgendwelche Tinder-Dates und irgendwelche Hinge-Dates, die du gerade mal seit 2 Stunden kennst und die nach Hause einlädst, wo ich auch wohne, dann haben wir ein Problem. Und das Problem hatten wir, Leute. Sie hat mich angelogen. Und zwar bei diesem Thema. Sie meinte, sie hat einen Freund und dass ihr Freund öfter vorbeikommen will und keine Ahnung was. So. Und dann meinte sie so, ja, sie wollte auch immer wissen, wann mein Freund kommt. Kann ich verstehen. Sie will sich dann selbst wahrscheinlich so situaten und gucken, ob sie dann irgendwie was unternimmt, weil ich kann es verstehen, dass es vielleicht unangenehm ist oder was auch immer. Bevor sie aber eingezogen ist, Leute, das will ich nur noch mal erwähnen. Bevor sie eingezogen ist, habe ich ihr gesagt, mein Freund kommt alle 2 Wochen, wenn nicht jede Woche vorbei, weil wir haben eine Fernbeziehung und er kommt alle 2 Wochen hierher und verbringt das Wochenende mit mir. Wenn du damit ein Problem hast, hol die Wohnung nicht, also hol das Zimmer nicht. Wenn es für dich okay ist, dann ja. Die erste Frage, die sie mich damals gestellt hatte, als sie zur Wohnungsbesichtigung kam, war, ja, kommen deine Eltern eigentlich voll oft hierher? Meine älteren Leute wohnen in Stuttgart, ich bin ja aus Stuttgart. Und ich war so, nee, meine Eltern kommen nicht so oft, aber auch wenn. Und die so, ja, ich will halt nur nicht, dass es so immer so, ich brauche halt auch meinen Freiraum. Kann ich verstehen, kann ich komplett verstehen, aber da dachte ich mir, du kannst dich nicht einmischen, wenn meine Eltern mir ins Zimmer, ja, kommen, weil ich hatte ein relativ großes Zimmer, wann die zu mir nach Hause kommen oder wann nicht. So, ich kann es verstehen, dass du vielleicht nicht so frei rumlaufen kannst, wie du möchtest, aber whatsoever. Dann, Leute, kommen wir kurz zu dem Thema zurück. Sie hat erzählt, sie hatte einen Freund, hat sie so lange durchgezogen, weil wir waren ja schon relativ am Anfang verstritten und so weiter. Und dann haben wir halt versucht, normal miteinander zu reden. Weil ich versucht, normal mit ihr zu reden. Und dann ist sie ein bisschen wärmer mit mir geworden. Und hat mir dann erzählt, sich ein bisschen wohler gefühlt. Und dann hat sie mir einfach erzählt, ja, das ist gar nicht mein Freund. Ich habe das einfach nur so gesagt. Und ich gucke die so an. Und ich war so, okay. Und die so, ja, ich kenne ihn so seit ein paar Wochen. Und der ist super reich. Ist in der Mafia. Der hat einen psychischen Schaden und geht zur Therapie und der wird irgendwo gesucht in seinem Land. Ich möchte das Land jetzt nicht erwähnen, aber der wird dort gesucht. Und ich war so... Und du findest es normal, so jemanden nach Hause einzuladen? Leute, wenn wir eine WG wären, wo 5 Leute drin wohnen, dann wäre es mir, glaube ich, tatsächlich echt egal, weil noch andere Leute da sind. Aber wir waren nur zu zweit. Also sprich, sie lädt da irgendeinen komischen Typen ein, der auch einfach in mein Zimmer reinkommen kann oder in meine Privatsphäre eindringen kann. So, und ich habe mich so unwohl gefühlt, Leute. Es ging gar nicht mehr darum, ob sie jetzt Toilettenpapier mehr verschwendet oder keine Ahnung was, sondern es ging wirklich um meine Sicherheit. Dann habe ich zu ihr gesagt, da musste ich ihr das erklären. Leute, ich musste ihr das erklären. Zu ihr gesagt, ich so, erzähl nicht jedem, den du hier kennenlernst, dass du alleine hier bist. Ich wohne 2 Stunden von meinen Eltern entfernt, aber ich erzähle trotzdem jedem hier, 9 Leuten, ja, die ich nicht kenne, so, erzähl denen allen, ich wohne mit meinem Freund zusammen. Als Frau brauche ich euch ja nicht erklären, so. Und dann saß sie da und hat mich angeguckt und meinte so, ja. Und ich war so, laber einfach, sag einfach, du wohnst mit deinen Eltern oder deine Eltern wohnen hier in der Nähe. Also wie dumm kann man sein, dass man nicht mal an seine eigene Sicherheit denkt, wirklich. Und da habe ich schon gemerkt, okay, die ist komplett balla. Welche Bumble-Dates nach Hause einlädt, die irgendeinen psychischen Schaden haben und die weiß das und die geht trotzdem mit diesen Menschen raus und datet den und so. Ist ja ihre Sache, ne? Aber mich ziehst du da nicht mit rein. Das war hauptsächlich der erste Grund oder der hauptsächliche Grund, warum ich gesagt habe, ich bin raus hier. Die zweite größere Lüge war, sie wurde von ihrer alten Vermieterin, weil sie hat mit ihrer Vermieterin zusammen gewohnt, rausgeschmissen. Und deswegen hat sie so schnell eine Wohnung gesucht und hat dann auch gleich die Wohnung genommen. Hat mir damals zur Besichtigung erzählt, weil ich habe natürlich nachgefragt, ich so, hey, wie verstehst du dich mit deiner jetzigen Mitbewohnerin oder halt mit deiner Vermieterin? Und sie so, ach, sie liebt mich, wir verstehen uns so gut, sie ist so traurig, dass ich gehe und keine Ahnung was. Ja, wie gesagt, dass sie die Kaution nicht zurückbekommt, dass die Vermieterin sie rausgeschmissen hat, weil sie das, Ananas gemacht hat. Das möchte ich jetzt nicht erwähnen. Und ich war nur so, ich muss hier raus. Ich muss hier ganz schnell raus. Dann musste ich noch mal kurz vorbei, weil ich habe ein paar Sachen dort gelassen, die ich nicht mitnehmen konnte. Und dann wollte ich in die Wohnung rein und dann rastet sie aus. Zieh deine Schuhe aus. Ich sag so, ey, es ist gerade ein Umzug. Ich werde sicherlich nicht die ganze Zeit meine Schuhe ein- und aus... Also mach ich nicht. Bist du blöd, Alter? Ich muss doch die ganze Zeit rein und rauslaufen, als ob ich jetzt jedes Mal die Schuhe ausziehe. Von mir aus, ich wisch, wenn es sein muss, Alter. Ich habe ja da nicht mehr drin gewohnt, ne? Sie komplett am Ausrasten. Du bist so unverschämt. Wie kann man nur so unverschämt sein? Und Leute, ich habe mein Composure gehalten. Ich war so, wenn ich jetzt was sage, dann schläge ich sie behindert. Ich habe eine wundervolle neue Wohnung. Es ist so schön hier. Schau mal meinen neuen Spiegel. Meine kleine süße Ecke. Meine Blumen sind ein bisschen am Vergammeln. Aber anyways, es war auf jeden Fall meine kleine Story zu meiner Mitbewohnerin. Es ist vorbei und ich wünsche euch noch einen wundervollen Abend.
What the fuck was that? Bro!
What's going on around you?
I don't know. I'm frozen. I am frozen.
Did the window
Sean.
break?
Something in the Appalachian Mountains that knows your name. This is the world's most haunted places. First is the Appalachian Mountains. The Appalachian Mountains is home to spirits, entities, and mimics that can imitate human voices and lure you deeper into the forest. And if that voice sounds like it's far away, it's too late. It's right behind you. Hotels scary enough to inspire The Shining. It's of course the Stanley Hotel in Colorado. Guests have reported hearing ghostly laughter echoing through empty halls and piano music when no one's playing. 6 million skeletons and only some want to stay buried. Beneath the surface of Paris lie the bones of over 6 million people in the Paris catacombs. Visitors claim to hear whispers and see figures vanishing into the darkness. Even the guards said they heard voices in the dark. This is of course Alcatraz Island, home to the former maximum security prison. Reports of ghostly cries, clanging doors and cold spots, especially near cell 14D, the hole. Every night something moves upstairs, but it's not human. Former funeral home now turned museum, the Riddle House located in Florida is known for its paranormal activity. Objects move on their own and the attic is said to house a violent ghost. If you could visit one of these places consequence-free, which one would you go to and why?